Hi, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is a paid request for Nicholas. Thank you so much for that. I do apologize for the lateness of this video. The version I thought I got, it didn't have subtitles, so I had to find another one that did have subtitles. So I knew what they were saying. But I was able to do it, so thank you so much for your generosity. Really appreciate it. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in info box. And I'll get to it as soon as I can. It could be any type of video, review, re-review of a movie, episode of a TV show, topic, tier list, ranking, commentary, reaction, video game playthrough for an hour, a full one, full game playthrough. Whatever the case, I'll get to as soon as possible. Thank you. Again, links are down below in info box. And no, I don't have Netflix. I have other ways to watch movies, so sometimes it takes me a bit longer, but eventually I will. But The Shadow Strays, which is an Indonesian action film that I thought was pretty decent. If you like films that have a lot of action and very, very bloody action, so in the style of The Raid Redemption, a lot of other movies. I mean, there's one I saw called Project Wolf Hunting. That was the one on the boat where you had the superhuman guy killing these criminals left and right. You have Carter, which is a South Korean one. That was in 2022. I think that film's still underrated. I know a lot of people did not like the film. I don't get it. I think Carter... I just don't understand the hate for that film. I don't. The ending is a cliffhanger, and I wish they would have done a sequel, but because everyone shit on it, there's not going to be a sequel. So that... I can't... that's a film, Carter is... They try to make it look like one shot the entire time, and I thought it was just such a technical, mind-boggling achievement that alone was enough for me, but I guess not for a lot of people, so... That was always... I always think about that film when I think of these type of movies. But I noticed the director of this, he did a couple of stuff I liked. He did VHS2. He did that one called Safe Haven with the guy who did The Raid, where you had the cult. Takes place, I forget where it took place in, but that cult and, you know, the woman that's pregnant and the creature comes out and all this insane shit happens. So this director helped make that one. He was one of the two directors that did Headshot, which I thought was a really good Iko Uwais movie. Iko starred in The Raid. Headshot, I think, is an underrated movie. In VHS 94, he did one of the only things I thought was worth a shit. The one with the cyborg lady that reminded me of Doom. And I guess the same director is doing the sequel to Nobody, which makes me very intrigued by the sequel. If the guy who did this stuff is doing Nobody with Bob Odenkirk, the Nobody 2, it makes me really interested to see what he will do in terms of the action and the violence, because if it gets anywhere close to this, then we're in for something. But I guess we'll see. We will see. Now, I will say the story, I thought for the most part was pretty flimsy. And it's a very long movie. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's I think it's a bit overlong. And the story just wasn't there. Because the story is just, there's these mercenaries, these assassins called the Shadows. You have your lead, who's Agent 13, sent in to do a job in Japan. Kills a bunch of people. Innocent accidentally gets killed because she gets out of the way and the asshole shoots someone. She freezes up because that wasn't supposed to happen. The person wasn't supposed to be there. They feel guilt. Technically it's the guy who did it, but, you know, gives the lead character a bit of humanity. She gets beaten up. Her mentor comes in to save her and then says, "You dropped the ball. You weren't focused. You're going into the safe house, and we'll call you when we think you're ready again." She's at the safe house. She sees this kid and her mom. But we don't really get a development of the kid and her mom. It's just she sees that they exist. Then she sees that the mom is yelling at some people. And there's a kerfluffle. But she doesn't want to get involved. And then the next moment, next morning or whatever, the kid's mom is dead. Then she has like one fucking 2-minute dinner chat with the kid. And then all of a sudden now she's gung-ho about this kid just quickly after the kid goes missing, and the rest of the movie is her trying to find this kid. And I'm like, it feels like there's only been like 5 minutes of screen time between her and this kid that she's just met. But she's going through all this, and it's just... It just felt it was a bit flimsy, so I didn't feel the drama was as strong as it could have been, and that there wasn't enough meat in the matter. But really, when you go into these films, it's the action. You're just waiting for the next action scene to happen, and it accomplishes its goal. If you like action scenes, like The Raid Redemption, and those type of movies, this is definitely par for the course for that. It's violent, it's brutal, it's nasty, there are people getting decapitated. The beginning, Agent 13 has this cool outfit with armor on, looking like a cool ninja, slicing people with swords, slicing people in the neck, cutting off an arm and using that arm to beat the guy with it. Puts the sword in the ground, grabs the guy, pulls him so his crotch gets hit by the damn sword. When the mentor comes in, there's stuff like, we see a point of view of their infrared visor, and of the POV, there's a guy and like blows the guy's head to smithereens, and the POV of the fucking infrared, and a bunch of gunplay, and more bloody decapitations. And are there some CGI? Yes, but there are some practical as well. I did notice a decent amount of practical in it. Now the muzzle flashes that I wish they would do muzzle flashes like they would back in the day, where they just looked more real. Sometimes it was real, but I mean, the way they do muzzle flashes always look a bit weird to me nowadays. I don't quite know how to put it. It just, they just look weird nowadays. Maybe that's just me, but heavily violent, extensive amount of action to start things off with a bang. And I don't want to give too much details on it for those who want to check it out. I think it's called The Shadow Strays. But no, the review's not over yet. So like I said, she's told to go to this safe house. The kid's name is Monji. Again, the kid's mom's dead. She chats with the kid, tell that the kid wants revenge. And then pretty soon after, the kid goes missing. Again, it's hard for me. Like, of course, you care about the kid's situation because her mom died, and he wants revenge for his mom. And even though he was talking, oh, my mom, she was an OD, you druggy piece of shit. He's putting up a tough act, but then eventually that crumbles, and he's sad for it. And yeah, try to watch the subtitle version because the dubbing's not the greatest. The dubbing, well, like a lot of dubbing, can sound a bit goofy. But, like I said, I didn't mind the lead actress. I thought she handled herself very well in the action. It really got her hands dirty. As a character, you get a little bit of her. She flashes about the death of her mom. That, and she's adamant to save this kid. That's really the only thing you get about this character. And that's the thing, there's not really any dialogue or any quirks, any personalities that could go, yeah, that she's memorable because of that. It's just based on our actions. I just say like you're controlling a video game, and here's the avatar. You just so that'll depend on the individual and how they feel about that. So she's looking to where the kid went, what happened to him. There's a guy stupid around the mom's room. She gets the guy, is able to get this guy to. Guy's name is Jetty? Jeti? GT? I can't pronounce his name correctly. Gets him to tell her what's going on a bit. And there's this human trafficker guy named Haga. And then there's this other lady. There's the bad guys. Bad guys, they control stuff. They don't give a fuck about people. Goes in there, kicks some ass, and the movie goes on from there. And eventually it's her going through the underworld, trying to find this kid, or protecting this guy who's helped her a bit, and his grandma in one scene. Or the mercenaries, the shadows, hear what's happening and they want this taken care of. Because Agent 13's not supposed to be doing this because she wasn't assigned to this stuff. And then a bit of the mentor, Umbri, and that how she has a bit of soul searching because at one point she's supposed to kill this woman. She finds out she's pregnant, doesn't want to do it, but then someone else does it. Like I said, the story itself is very basic. Kid taken, go rescue the kid, go into the underworld. Oh, this is my mentor, now my mentor is my enemy. Stuff you've seen dozens and dozens of times if you've seen action films in general. I don't think plot-wise it did anything new. There's nothing that I thought, oh, that's really creative. Like John Wick. John Wick, you just say the same thing, but at least with the way the underworld plays out with the hotel and using this type of currency and the code that you can't kill people in the hotel. And at least there's enough flourishes there to make it seem unique, which follows in John Wick 2 and John Wick 3. Fuck John Wick 4. Yes, I still don't like John Wick 4. I still think that film is an overrated piece of shit. I would rather watch this than John Wick 4. To me, this is a better version of John Wick 4. I'll say that easily. It doesn't have the character rolling down the stairs for 10 minutes like this fucking Donkey Kong. It doesn't have a dog pissing a guy's fucking skull in CGI. Or a CGI dog bouncing off cars like fucking ping pong. Or Scott Actors for some reason in a fat ass suit thinking he's the Penguin. Colin Farrell style. Anyway, I know people disagree. I don't care. Fuck that movie. So while the plot doesn't do anything different, you're watching this for the action, and the action delivers. The action heavily delivers on this. Whether it be... There's probably a few times where she'll use someone as a shield and someone's using a shotgun or something, and she'll use the person as a shield, and you see looks like squibs being hit to this poor sumbitch. Or that poor sumbitch. Or there are times they get a weapon and it unloads the whole weapon in someone's face. Or ears didn't bend off, or eyeballs didn't crush with thumbs, or... Sometimes the action gets a bit shaky, but not... I was still able to understand what was going on. At least it's not edited like you're addicted to crack or something. And they did more in the spoilers starting now. Spoilers. What I mean by that is... Like, Haga, the criminal guy, slices him up, uses him as a shield for the one bitch's shotgun. Fights 3 or so security guys, goes knife crazy, stabbing the shit out of all of them. when the one guy who's helping her, the henchman Jetty, is with his grandma, she comes in to save them, either on a motorcycle and taking people down, or unloading the guns in people's faces, or using this pan as a shield, but then as a weapon to fuck up people. Or even when she's led to a trap and the guy's laughing at her, she bites his ear off like she's Mike Tyson and then puts her thumbs in the guy's eyes. It's pretty satisfying. Plot-wise, story-wise, again, you have her mentor Umbre, and this guy named Troika. They're killing other shadows, mercs, assassins, just they're told to. Just they're deserters. And then they hear about what's going on and come back. Like I said, eventually he helps that one henchman guy who's helping her and his grandma. Beats and kills everybody there. Follows someone. Is led into a trap. Caught, like you said, the ear, the eyes. That whole thing happens. And then one of the bosses says, "No, don't kill her. We're going to use her as a form of protection for us, since she's killed a bunch of our people, and we have this drug deal going down. And we'll say, if you don't do it, we'll kill this kid." But as the deal's going down, like I said, spoilers, Monji, the kid, dies of his wounds. The Jetty, the henchman, tells her, "Hey, he's dead, he's dead." She freaks out, fucks up the deal. There's a big shootout. The folks are killing. And the choreography was nice to look at. There was a good amount of action. It wasn't like a movie where it went 20 minutes without action. It spread quite a bit throughout it. The lead girl, she handled her moves well. It was like the fucking girl from that Predator movie where I was supposed to buy her doing parkour shit on a Predator. I'm like, no, I don't buy you. I don't buy you sneezing through a tissue, let alone doing this shit. Here, I was able to buy it more. I thought she handled herself fairly well. And then the amount of, like, vicious violence where one bad guy gets on top of the guy's car and just unloads his gun, and you see the guys getting shot up. Granted, it's no Paul Verhoeven Total Recall Robocop style. I don't think we'll ever, more likely never see that again. But it's still nice to see some of the heavily violent stuff here. And then she, 13, gets in on the action, uses a shotgun a few times. I mean, a machine gun a few times. My favorite bit is the fight with the prick that was beating on the kid before, who's got like this, looks like GIMP mask on. Or he thinks he's fucking Black Mask from Batman or whatever. Whatever the hell his name was. And it's a very violent bat fight, where he's swinging the bat at her, and then she gets the bat and uses it against him. I thought that was easily, for me, the best part of the movie. It was the most satisfying part of the movie. I especially liked the idea of the whistle of death. I'll just say that. You have to see it to know what the hell I'm talking about. But that I thought was the best fight in the movie, in my opinion. Especially spoilers. Well, I mean, I'm in spoilers, so might as well. 3. What's the whistle of death? Okay. Slices his throat, and then he's like, "What the hell's that whistling?" It's his, just whatever's cut his throat, like, it's his sound coming out because of his slit throat. And she calls it, that's the whistle of death. And then shoves the piece of bat in his mouth. I went, ooh, shit. Okay. Pretty fucking hardcore. And then that's when her mentor and this guy Troiter come in, and her and the henchman Genki, who's a decent guy, has helped her out. They're going back. They get captured by the shadow group. T1 say Jinty, it's like fucking Velma. Jinty helps her, saves her, but he gets killed. I like that she reacts to it as if he meant something. Just sometimes that doesn't happen in movies. Sometimes a person that helps her dies and is like, oh, doesn't mean anything. So I like that she reacts like, no. She jumps out, escapes, fights the big guy Troika, which is a fun fight. Nice choreography, some cool screwdriver action. In a point where he gets the guy in this hook. So he's hooked to the side, and then she pulls him, so the hook comes off like this. I thought, ooh, okay, that's nice. Yes, some CGI additions, to be fair, but I liked the visceral energy of the scene. So, like I said, there is some practical stuff in there, which I appreciate as well. Taste here of him. Then he fights her mentor, and another brutal fight. Granted, at this point, I kind of felt like I was getting a bit worn out, because I already had the fight with the guy with the bat. Then I already had the fight with the guy with and using the screwdriver. So now we have right into another fight, and it was fine. It was still a brutal fight, but it's one of those things where there's this explosion that happens, and the good guy's over the bad guy, but then the bad guy flips over, is ready to kill the good guy, but because we've seen her mentor, not want to kill that pregnant lady earlier and all this stuff, now, even though there was plenty of time she's willing to kill the lead in seconds, like literally there's a point like she throws her grenade and holds the door, or like there's plenty of times that in 0.8 seconds would have killed her. I said, oh, now you won't kill her. It's like, I get what they're doing, but it's like, it's a cliche, and it's not like they came out of the blue, but it kind of felt that way too. Like, it didn't because of what I said of, there's a history between the two, and again, we saw how the mentor was hesitant to kill this pregnant lady before. But again, you just see how hardcore, like, she's ready to kill, blah, 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 and then it's like, oh, fine, I won't. And it's like, really, at that moment? But I did it. It just, is one of those cliches. It's like someone's got the gun on the good guy, but lo and behold, the gun is empty, and I know that this isn't going to bother anyone else, but just one of those things, okay, didn't ruin the movie or anything. It was like, okay, yeah, Yes, it's cliche if the good guy just beats the bad guy, but I prefer that cliche. What can I say? But at least, again, it's not 100% out of the blue, to be fair. But it's just like, again, with some of the ways, like, the mentor is really adamant of killing our lead character. It's just like, oh, thank God you thought of this now. When all those other times you didn't even blink for a second trying to murder her ass. Like, maybe if there are moments earlier in the fight where she's hesitant, like to start, and then in the midst of it they're in the heat of the moment, and then, so maybe if there's like hesitancy from her part at the start, like, maybe that would have helped me sell it a bit more. But anyway, she doesn't kill our lead. There's this guy who's the boss. Do it now. Shoots her. The hero, our lead, shoots that guy. Her mentor dies in her arms. Tells her real name. And then later on, they do like a sequel bait stuff where these other mercs try to kill her, but then this guy comes in and says, you're not going to kill her because she's going to be with me. And then you realize that this guy is her mentor's mentor, her mentor's sensei. And he takes his mask off, and it's Mad Dog from the Raid Redemption, which I forget that guy's name, but I'm like, oh, I recognize you. He was also in John Wick 3. He was in other stuff too, but I'm like, what is that actor's name? Yayan Ruyan. Yeah, he played the bad guy Mad Dog with that. We fought both of the two heroes in the Raid Redemption, and like he's done a lot of stuff. He's done. Let's say he was in John Wick 3. Yeah, I think he was in. I think he was in the Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and he was in that Beyond Skyline movie, and I think he was in the Raid 2 as a different character. Like I say, he was in John Wick 3, so I'm like, okay, I recognize him. But they set up for a sequel, and who knows if I mean, not a lot of these type of movies get a sequel that goes straight to streaming. Because a lot of people don't know about, like Carter, that came out in 2022. There's no talk of a sequel. This, granted, just came out this year, but I also like Project Wolf Hunting. That seemed like it ended with a sequel bad ending, and that's kind of the sad thing. Like these movies, I like. I know the director did another one, The Night Comes for or something, which I don't know. Something about that movie I couldn't get into. I know I should have. The Night He Comes or Night. I forget what it's called. The same director did that. Just couldn't get into it. I think Iko Uwais was like the bad guy or something in it. So I can't remember. The Night He Comes. I just couldn't get into the movie. I don't know why. But yeah, a lot of these movies, like, they'll have a sequel bait ending and then nothing ever comes of it, which is too bad. So like I said, if you like this type of martial arts, violent, bloody action where there's a lot of it, it's definitely worth a look. Yes, I mean, the running time is a bit lengthy. The story is very cut and paste from a bunch of other movies that you've seen done a dozen times. And yeah, I don't think they really brought anything that new or unique to the story that you haven't seen before. I kind of wish they would have. Also, like the kid, like we barely know the kid, so it's kind of hard for me to care what happens to the kid because we see, meet, his mom died, and the conversation feels it like it happens in the same 5 minute block. We meet him. His mom has an argument. She's dead. Talks with the kid. Like the 5 to 7 minutes seems like that's all combined in that one bit, and it's like that wasn't enough for me to be like, oh, I give 100% shits about him. So I just thought the story and the emotional hook, especially for a film that's, what was the actual running time? I can't remember. It was, it says here 2 hours and 24 minutes. Now I don't know how much of, I try to remember how much of that was credits. Again, you would think with a 2 hour and 24 minute running time, you would think you would have, I'm not saying I want a story for 40 minutes and no action, but like a little bit. Now granted, you just say the same thing for Carter, but yet why did I like that a bit more? Again, just for how insane that film looks with trying to look like a one-shot movie. And also, it felt like it was going to be like not a zombie movie, but when it got to the end, it did feel like it was like an infected movie, which I kind of liked. Like it almost felt like a horror movie by the end. And that stuff just kind of appealed to me. What can I say? But I mean, you could argue that was a film that was little in story as well, and you'd be right. Just like this, but let's say if you're going into it for the, and also this poster sucks. Like this poster here, I don't think really sells the movie that great. In fact, I'm trying to remember who that guy is with the glasses on. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really sell the movie that well, so it deserves a better poster than that. But again, if you like these type of martial arts action, violent decapitations, blood and stuff everywhere, sword play, knife play, a little bit of gunplay, but it's more like physical. I mean, at times the camera bounces a bit too much for me, but definitely some nice brutal choreography. And if you're a sucker for that like I am, I'm glad I saw this. I liked it. Would it be in my top 10 favorites of the year? Maybe an honorable mention. Maybe. Or maybe, I don't know. Like I said, if it had a more stronger narrative hero that, again, I really, something like funny, unique, something about him that really stuck out more, maybe it would be. But as an action junkie, it's definitely worth a look. It's definitely, it just shows like they know how to do action. I'll say that they knew how to do some bloody action. So it's satisfying on that front. So I did like it. Thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye bye for now.